Hi everyone, so I'm on my Facebook group, The Menopause Mindset. I'm on Instagram. Hi everyone, happy Sunday. How are you all? How is everyone doing? Are you enjoying the lovely weather that we've been having? It's been great. I've really enjoyed this last week. I've been off with my stepdaughter, my partner, and just really creating some headspace, taking some time off, some time away. So my partner's gone out metal detecting today, and I thought I would just take this opportunity to do a cheeky little Sunday Facebook and Instagram live about something that I've been pondering recently. And I did a written kind of blog post about this on my personal profile page and on my business page, but I didn't write it in my Facebook group and I didn't write it in my Instagram because it was actually too long to fit onto my Instagram. So I thought, well, you know what? Instead of trying to shoehorn it into the Instagram character numbers, I will just do a Facebook Live on it because, why not? Right, let me just check something. Somebody popped up and tried to leave a comment, but I can't see it, unfortunately, and I don't know why that is. Oh, wait. Morning. Someone said good morning. Right, okay, cool. So, basically what I'm talking about today is sulking and disengaging from your relationships. So the reason why this has come up for me is because it's something that I used to do. Something that I used to do quite a lot, something that I still want to do, but kind of stop myself from doing it, which is good because I have awareness now and I know that it doesn't actually get me what I want. But also recently, one of my RTT clients came to me with this issue. And she had a very, very good job, really well educated, but she sort of felt herself shutting down from her relationship and going into sort of spoilt child mode, sulking, shutting down, refusing her partner sex, and just sort of, turning her back on her partner. And her partner sort of ended up doing the same, because you would, wouldn't you? If one of you shuts down, you think, well, if they can't be bothered, why should I really make an effort? And so you get this kind of dual shutting down that can happen in relationships. Now, obviously, as most of you know, I mainly work with people in their midlife and in their menopause. This isn't limited to the menopause, but it certainly does come up a lot at midlife, and relationships at midlife where you've been together with somebody for, maybe a long time, maybe 10, 20 years, maybe even shorter than that, like 5 years or something, and problems, power struggles start arising. So it's not a nice place to be when power struggles start arising and one or both of you starts to shut down. It's a really nasty, horrible, sticky place to be. And if you've been in that place, let me know if you resonate with any of this. And it's something that a lot of us do when we feel misunderstood, when we feel we're not getting our own way, when we're shrouded in shame, when we when we just feel like perhaps our partner's shut down as well. So we think, well, we'll shut down too. So the quote that I put on my post was, and this is why it's so damaging, is because when you disengage from your partner, you make them relive all of their childhood pain, basically. And if you shut down, that happens to them, whether they're conscious of it or not. And that also happens to you if they shut down. When you start reliving all of your childhood pain, you really do act out. You begin to become a child again in the relationship. And you are trying to get all of your needs met from your partner that you tried to get as a child from mummy and daddy. So it becomes this really unhealthy sort of childlike relationship. So what is disengagement? What does it actually look like? What are some of the the things that it actually looks like. And I wrote this down on my post. So shutting down and disengaging from your partner looks like things like, and these things might seem quite benign, but actually when you think about it, they are a disengagement. So things like never looking your partner in the eye and saying, I love you, you're special to me, you mean the world to me. It's doing things like going, yeah, love you, bye. That kind of thing is really disengagement. Never really considering your time off together or making plans with each other. So just sort of letting the weekends roll in, roll out, never really kind of planning holidays together, never really planning sacred special time together. And then if you do go away together, it's then you become much more interested in your phone, or you're just not interested in each other or the menu or whatever. Someone's giving me a lot of likes here. Hey, lovely to see you. So yeah, what else? Excessive hobbies that require a lot of time away from the relationship. So Harville Hendrix talks a lot about this. He describes it as exiting. How do you exit your relationship? Women do it by doing excessive amounts of housework. Men do it by having excessive amounts of hobbies. It's something that, my partner did quite a lot to sort of exit intimacy. Like, it's like an intimacy avoidance. We say, oh, there's no time for intimacy. There is time. It's just we don't prioritize it because we're blocked to intimacy. We'd rather disengage. It's much easier to disengage and just get on with whatever it is that's much easier, really, because engagement requires openness, it requires vulnerability, it requires going inward to maybe difficult emotions or emotions that you're just not used to, emotions that are not very familiar to you. So intimacy avoidance is one of the things that we do, like consistently going to bed later than the other person to avoid sex, or to avoid intimacy, or to avoid closeness, or consistently going to bed much earlier than the other person. Working to excess is another way that we avoid intimacy and connection, or that we disengage from a partner. Let me know what you think. Is there a way that you've disengaged from your partner? Or have you been on the receiving end of a partner that's disengaged? Another way that we disengage from our partners is not surprising them anymore, not buying them gifts anymore like we used to perhaps, or not saying the things that we used to when we first started courting each other. Another way we disengage is actually, this is quite a difficult one, but that lack of personal hygiene. Lack of looking after ourselves, not brushing our teeth before we go to bed. So we wake up with this really bad breath. And of course, our partner's never going to want to kiss us if we have this hideous breath. Maybe that's something that you're subconsciously doing because you are wanting to pull away from your partner subconsciously. And then, as I said before, continually prioritizing work, continually prioritizing house cleaning, hobbies, or social stuff. So anything that is away from the relationship. So Harville Hendrix says your health should be your number one priority, then your relationship, and then your work. But often it's not like that. Often the relationship, the intimate relationship, especially when we have children, gets sort of pushed down. But that's tricky. That's difficult then, because if you're not happy in your relationship, what kind of an example are you showing your children? It's really difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect at this myself, but I just think it's really important that we have this conversation. So why does this kind of thing come up at midlife? Because it does. And I think it's really, really interesting because it comes up at midlife, because at midlife, we are trying to reduce the amount of stress that we have in our lives. We're trying to prioritize our health. We're trying to reduce stress. because stress can make the menopause worse. It can make the andropause worse, which is the male menopause, the andropause. You know, we really want to eliminate stress as much as we can at midlife. We're looking for peace. We're looking for tranquility. You know, life is hard enough, isn't it, at midlife? With all of the stresses of kids, of ailing parents, of work demands, of trying to earn money, trying to do our banking, life admin, Passwords not working on the, you know what I mean, tech headaches. So life is hard enough. Now, if our relationship is toxic, or if our relationship is disengaged and we're disconnected, that is actually going to cause a lot of stress on our body, on our nervous system, on our hormones. So it's really important to learn about our own patterns in the relationship so that we can make it better for ourselves and for the other person. So the reason I'm saying this is because disengagement and disconnection causes us to relive and re-experience this childhood pain. It causes loss of connection. It causes a massive loss of trust. And if any of you have read Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, you will know what she talks about in this. This loss of trust, disconnection and disengagement basically says, you're not there for me and I'm not safe. And it's really covert as well. It's not obvious like an affair or a misuse of money. It's really like underhand. If someone's disengaging from us, it can make us feel very, very crazy indeed. So if you're the one that's sulking, you are making your partner feel really mad in the head. And when somebody feels mad in the head, they do crazy things. That's why you end up with all of this toxicity and all this crazy behavior in relationships, you know, sometimes often leading to murder and things like that. Disengagement creates a loss of feeling safe and protected in your relationship. And that's one of the things we really need in our relationships if we are to regulate our own nervous systems. You know, I'm writing a course on sleep at the moment, and one of the modules within that is all about how to create safe and passionate relationships. So how to talk to your partner in a way that is going to dispel any tension, because when our relationships are, you know, so toxic or disconnected, our nervous system becomes dysregulated. We can't sleep properly. So if you are not sleeping, then it really is worth looking at your relationship status and how your relationships are. So it makes us feel like we're going mad. We lose our equilibrium. It reminds us of our childhood pain. Now, as human beings, we come onto the planet with three needs: the need for safety and security and love, the need for protection. That's kind of all in one banner. We also have a need for our emotions to be recognized, to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, so that we can feel significant, so that we can feel important, so that we can feel like we matter. We also have a need for connection and belonging. This need for connection is so primal, and it's really inbuilt into our nervous system as well. It's part of polyvagal theory. It's part of the vagus nerve. This need for connection and belonging, the need to avoid rejection. So when you sulk or you disengage from your partner, you trigger the lack of those three needs being met, right? Suddenly they're like, I'm not safe anymore because this person has pulled away from me. There's that lack of trust there. There's like, oh my God, this person's not seeing me anymore. There's that second need. And then that third need, I am no longer connected to somebody. Nobody has my back. I'm not safe in the world. So these really small covert things that we do, like pulling away in a relationship, will trigger the other person, They feel like they're going batshit crazy. Then they feel like their needs aren't being met. So they then act out and become childlike and become, possibly they then start to try to regulate their emotions by doing things that are not sustainable, like drinking, smoking, sex, gambling, all the addictions. And maybe then they start disengaging as well as a kind of pseudo protection mechanism. So it is really, really important that we understand where we are sulking or disengaging in our own relationship if we feel that our needs aren't getting met, and then making a conscious decision to stay open, right? It's really difficult. And, there's been times in my relationship where I've really felt like sulking, but I've had to stop and take a deep breath, because I know that if I then start to sulk and disengage, I actually won't get what I want in the relationship, which is love, connection, safety, and validation, and all of those things. So by me breaking that cycle, and you all have the power to do this yourself, it's about you choosing to break that cycle and to just breathe into that feeling and actually name it yourself. So I've been with my partner when he's really triggered me and I've been shaking and like really wanting to act out. You close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and you just tell your partner how you're feeling. You go, I really want to shut down right now. I really want to sulk right now, but I know it's not the right thing to do. Can you help me not do this? Like, how can we work together on this? How can we support each other and actually get what we want? It is about staying open from the heart, and really just making the effort to do the difficult thing. The easy thing is to shut down, right? The easy thing is to sulk and disengage. That's the quickest, easiest sort of defense mechanism that we have, but it never gives us what we want. So, a little bit of food for thought for you there on a Sunday, thought for the day. That's what Sundays are all about, isn't it? Philosophy. Let me know what you think. Let me know if that's something that happens to you. Maybe you're the disengage-e, or maybe you're the disengage-er. So maybe you're the one that is on the receiving end of the sulking, or maybe you are the one that is the sulker or the disengager. And then looking at those things, so the list of things that I mentioned earlier, how can you flip them? How can you change them? So if you do say a rushed love you every time, how can you just slow that down a little bit? If you never consider days off together, how can you start doing that? And when you do go on your days off together, can you make a concerted effort to put the phones down and actually engage with each other a little bit more? If you do have excessive hobbies that take you away from the relationship, how can you perhaps get your partner involved a bit more? Or how can you perhaps make your relationship your hobby instead of the other things that are taking you out and away from the relationship? How can you maybe put boundaries and limits on your work so that you're not working to excess? Can you have a cut-off point? Can you say, right, today I'm going to finish work at 6 and that's it. It's partner time. How can you surprise your partner a little bit more? Can you leave little hints? If you don't know what your partner wants, can you ask them to leave hints for you? Or can you leave hints of something that you want? Sometimes we have to help our partners surprise us. My partner had to do that with me because I'm not a big gift giver. And he's got like a catalogue of some books that he wants. And I just said, just write next to it what you want. Just put a big want and circle. And that was really great for me. So then I'll just put it here, and then occasionally I'll just go online and order something for him. And when it arrives, he's absolutely over the moon. He's giving me cuddles and all is good in the world. So one of the things I didn't mention actually is one of the ways we disengage is not being curious about our partner's hobbies actually. So my partner has a metal detecting hobby that I mentioned earlier, and it's all about history and coins, and it's like something that I'm really not interested in at all. So I've had to make a really big effort to try to be interested in those things, to help him regulate his own nervous system and his own emotions. And it's it's fine. I can look at some coins. I like the gold coins. I think they're quite fascinating. But history has never really been a big thing for me. I failed my history A level, so actually history for me has been a big trigger. It's like I turn away from history. I'm much more of a future girl. I like innovation and technology and stuff like that. So I've had to make a big effort to be very interested in all of the bits of metal that my partner brings home. But it's made us closer, and it's certainly increased the feeling of safety within the relationship. So there we go. So you just got to look at where you disengage, and then compromise and flip it and turn it around. You have to put the work in. If you want a long-term, healthy, sustainable, beautiful, loving relationship that is going to see you into the third age of your life, there are compromises that we have to make. When you're young, when you're in your 20s, often, well, for me anyway, I didn't see that I needed to compromise, and I was always looking for the perfect person, but never found them. Even Graham's got his flaws. I love him to bits. We make the effort with each other, and the more we make the effort with each other, the better our relationship is becoming, and the deeper our love is becoming for each other. So, right, I hope you have got something from this. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today on a Sunday on Instagram and on Facebook. And I will see you lovelies at some point soon. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye. Oh, where am I?